And we remain in the region, but now turn to Iraq. Now that Saddam Hussein's hometown Tikrit has been freed from the grips of the Islamic State by Iraqi forces, Iranian-backed Shiite militias, and U.S. airstrikes, Iraq's government looks ahead to retake parts of Anbar province and Mosul. But the Sunni residents of Mosul, as in Tikrit, are between a rock and a hard place and wanting to be free of IS control, but fearful their potential rescuers, the Shiite militias, could deliver a much worse fate. Still with us, our i24 News Middle East analyst, Ali Waqid. Thanks for still being here, Ali. And also correspondent Danny Swibel. Good morning to you. But first, let's watch a report by Danny that gives us a recap of the events in Tikrit and the unknown future that lies ahead for Mosul.
Iraqi Prime Minister Haidar al-Abadi, accompanied by the army, police, and Shiite paramilitary leaders, paraded through Tikrit upon the retaking of the city after the Islamic State militant group captured the city last June as they swept through most of Iraq's Sunni Muslim territories, swatting aside a demoralized and disorganized army. With the completion of a successful military campaign, initially spearheaded by Iranian-backed Shiite paramilitary groups and finalized with U.S.-led airstrikes, two strange bedfellows, Iraqi government officials sought to paint the entry into Tikrit as a national triumph.
The security forces are in the service of the province and the people, and as soon as we are secured, the citizens will be able to come back under the care of the government, and all Iraq shall be liberated from the crimes of the Islamic State.
A tremendous amount of work lays ahead to free the other IS-dominated cities, with many unanswered questions. As Tikrit was on the eve of being freed, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon met with Prime Minister Abadi, saying he was troubled by alleged abuses by Iraqi pro-government forces and the Shiite militias against Sunni civilians. Some Sunnis of Tikrit were supportive of the Islamic State, but the many who were not simply want to return to their homes, but are fearful the Shiites might seek revenge.
Are they going to be treated as enemies? Are they going to be victims of reprisal attacks, particularly for a notorious massacre that the Islamic State committed against Shiite militia forces last summer? Or are they going to return to their homes where electricity is restored and services are restored?
Will the Iranian-backed militias still fight for Iraq, with the U.S. on the same side conducting airstrikes? The post-war reality and security situation in Tikrit will serve as a metaphor and a learning experience for the much larger goal of freeing Mosul, a predominantly Sunni city, from the grips of IS.
In Tikrit, there were strongholds of support for the Islamic State. Whether or not the Mosulis decide to help ISIS or side with the forces that come to retake the city is going to be the character of the forces that come. Is it going to be a U.S. and Iranian effort exclusively? Our Kurdish force is going to be involved. They need to decide whether or not they fear the Islamic State more or the Shia militias backed by Iran.
The United States and its allies continue to conduct airstrikes against Islamic State, who still control large swaths of Syria and Iraq. But with no plans for Western troops on the ground and IS maintaining control over Mosul, it remains to be seen what the makeup of forces will be and how this will play out in this oft-times sectarian quagmire of old.